You're listening to the Dre Area Sports Show, live on YouTube and X. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
The Dre Area Sports Show is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use promo code Dre Area Sports to save $20 on your first purchase at SeatGeek.com. And we are also brought to you by BetUS. BetUS will match you up to 125% on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 by using promo code Dre Area Sports. Power Brand Systems. If you're looking to build a website for your small business or YouTube channel, then check out Power Brand Systems. Use promo code 300POWER to save up to $300 on your first purchase at Power Brand Systems.
I'm joined by Aaron of 49ers First Takes talking about the San Francisco 49ers. Aaron, what's going on, man?
Not much, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. So Aaron and I were going to go live, what was it, like last Friday, I think it was. And
Friday, Saturday, Thursday, I forget the day.
Yeah, it just kept moving around. But like I had this massive allergy attack and it was like, it was debilitating. So I had to change all that. And then today I was going to have Johnny Dell on the show, but he had some stuff going on. So I went back to Aaron and said, hey, dude, let's reschedule to today. And he was like, I'm down. Let's do it. And here he is. So, Aaron, I want to talk to you about the recent updates when it comes to Brandon Ayuk. Now, we got a couple of different reports. Some reports would say, well, he is recovering well and he's not going to get traded. Others would say that, oh, no, he's going to get traded. And we know that on April 1st, he will be guaranteed a fuck ton of money. So let me ask you, do you think that there's some validity to the fact that there is trade interest for Brandon Ayuk?
I feel like with any report, you should always take it with a little bit of a grain of salt. But at the same time, the saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. Listen, there's some teams out there that got a ton of cap space, as we saw by the Patriots. Yeah, making a move for Stephon Diggs, who's not even fully recovered from a knee injury from last year. And a lot of the reports going out there were that Brandon Ayuk was also on their radar. So, yeah, I think there's definitely people that are inquiring with 49ers about Brandon Ayuk. I just think there's a lot of stuff going against that situation right now, namely being that he is still recovering from an ACL, MCL, meniscus injury that happened, early to mid-season last season. So there's
pretty devastating injury.
Yeah, he essentially blew his whole knee out. I've torn a meniscus, but I've never torn my ACL or MCL or all that kind of stuff. So there's that. But Andre, like the offseason has been so everything's on the table kind of feel to it.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how to feel about this. Do I think that there's teams inquiring about him? Yeah. Do I think the 49ers are listening, even though they might not make any move? The old John Lynch line, we're doing our due diligence. I think it's a little bit of that. Depending on who you talk to, whoever is reporting on this stuff, they'll say that there's not a chance. It's not going to happen. The Niners are going to keep him. So, I guess we have to wait till April. Was it April 1st when that money becomes guaranteed to see what the 49ers do? I can't imagine, though, Andre, that they're going to trade Brandon Ayuk, really? Especially with the wide receiver core, the way that it looks right now as of March 28th, 2025. They have a lot of needs going into the draft. We're not going to touch on that too much right here, but I'm just saying, like, to add wide receiver on top of that with no real answer behind him on the team at this very moment, I think it's very unlikely.
Well, here's my thing too, is that, there's been talk about, what's up, Chris? What's up? Rock a New Era, Papa J, Brian, Taryn. Okay. So my thing is this, is that there's been talk about the Niners wanting to trade Brandon Ayuk because they want to recoup the money that is going to be owed to him come April 1st, right? That's all Jed York's money. That's the York's money. So they're trying to recoup that. So they have to pay him all this guaranteed cash. So there is that. And I think that they are being pressured to relieve themselves of this contract. It was a contract that I don't think everyone was really on board with, that they kind of did last minute. and it ended up costing them a ton of money. And I think that they want to get out from under that contract. And you're getting a guy in Brandon Ayuk who we don't even know how he's going to be when he comes back. Is he going to be the same Brandon Ayuk that he was 2 years ago? Is he going to be the one that we saw last season who was out of shape? But maybe this time around, it's not going to be because he's not in football shape. It's going to be because he's not able to be the guy that he once was because of his knee injury. We just don't know. And so I think that there is an option out there. Now, there is a rumor that the Niners are looking for a third-round pick for Brandon Ayuk. But I think because of his injury, you're not going to get that. I think you'd be lucky to get a fifth-round pick. There are teams like the Browns that have been connected to Brandon Ayuk. We know the Browns have a series of sixth-round draft picks. I think they have 4 of them or 3 of them. So that's something that they could look to try to acquire. But it's a matter of, does the team want to give up all those draft picks to try and get Brandon Ayuk, a guy that they won't even have until midseason? But if he does come back, which he will, he'll be out there with another ACL player in Stephon Diggs. But Diggs is supposed to be back by week 1 because it happened a little bit earlier and it wasn't as catastrophic as Ayuk's was. So you figure if Ayuk comes back, now Drake May not only has Diggs, but he's also got Brandon Ayuk out there. Now he's got 2 good receivers at saying that they both recover and bounce back 100%. We just don't know. But we got this report today that I wanted to share with you. And this is a report from Adam Schefter. Let's go. Here it is right here. Adam Schefter writes, despite conflicting reports about teams reaching out, there hasn't been a significant trade interest in Brandon Ayuk, according to Adam Schefter. The combination of his contract and injury concerns have reportedly made teams hesitant, which makes sense, right? Nobody wants to take on the contract when you don't know when the guy is going to be healthy again this season. But from what I understand, Dr. Neil, is pleased with his progress. He's coming along. I mean, what is he going to say? Oh, he looks terrible. His knee's like falling apart. I did a bad job. I would think that he's ready to be played by mid-season. And there might be a team out there willing to basically not give up much to get a great player who's coming off an injury. Now, that's kind of the narrative that's playing against the Niners, is that a team might say, well, I know what you're saying. He's a good player and all, but I'm not going to get him to mid-season? And you want me to give up, a bunch of draft picks? I don't think so. So there's that. But if you trade Brandon Ayuk, then I think you definitely need to utilize one of your draft picks for a receiver. And I don't think the Niners want to do that. They signed DeMarcus Robinson. They have Ricky Pearsall. They have Juwan Jennings. They have Jacob Cowling. But just alone, Robinson, Jennings, and Pearsall. You have 3 receivers right there. Now, obviously, you don't want any of them to fall to injury, but so you may acquire a few more. But I think that's a receiving core you can kind of play with. Not to mention you still got George Kittle and you got Christian McCaffrey out of the backfield. So I think that's a receiving core you can run with until Ayuk gets back if you need to, based on the easy schedule that you got this season. Now, I would love for them to get a guy like, Savion Williams or, draft someone in the draft, but it would have to be in the later rounds. I think that if you're going to draft a receiver early, it would be no earlier than the 3rd round. But the first 2 rounds have to be defensive linemen or edge rushers, in my opinion, which we're going to do a mock draft in just a little bit, guys. So stay tuned for that. But what do you think, Aaron? I mean, if you get rid of Ayuk, it feels like you kind of have to draft somebody to replace him, right?
Absolutely. Like, there's no way. I just don't feel comfortable going into next season without Brandon Ayuk on the roster. And whoever you get in the 3rd round, unless he turns out to be, the second coming of Terrell Owens or something, like, you're not going to be able to meet the production that he's had. If you look at the career of Brandon Ayuk, and I know my guy, 49ers Plus podcast, Al, says that he's gotten progressively better every single year he's been in the league. Like, he's improved on his game every single year he's been in the league. I just don't think you can just say, like, oh, we're going to go and replace him in the draft with a 3rd rounder and we're going to stick him right into the starting lineup. I just don't think that's smart business.
No, I don't.
I still think even with him being injured, he's still their best overall receiver when healthy. He is straight up number one. He's their X receiver. And I feel like everybody who's on the roster that's underneath him falls into exactly what slot they're supposed to be in once he's back on the roster.
Yeah.
As much as I love Juwan Jennings, I still see him as a third down guy, a possession guy, a guy you get the ball to when you need a big catch. But I'm talking about overall talent from, just overall, physicality of what he does for the team. I just think that Brandon Ayuk is receiver number one. I just don't see how trading him makes you better if you're going to only go and draft a third round draft pick. John Lynch said early in the offseason, we're not in the habit of giving away good players. And so far, he's kind of went against that with all the moves that they've made in the offseason.
Well, I mean, look, we talked about the moves that he's made and the players that he's lost. I mean, really, the one player that all of us wanted him to keep was Dre Greenlaw. And we know now that, that was really the biggest. That was the biggest player to leave the Niners was Dre Greenlaw. And even that, like, we don't know if he's ever going to be the same player he was. We saw him play, a half of a game, and he looked phenomenal. So, the thing about Dre Greenlaw is that he's often injured, and he's hurt every single year because of the way he plays. And so now the next question is that do you draft a linebacker? Or do you go with D. Winters and Tatum Bethune and Curtis Robinson? Personally, I think they're going to draft a linebacker. There's a lot of talk about the guy from Georgia. What's his name? Not Jalen Moore. He was the offensive lineman that we lost. But they're talking about that guy a lot too. And so it makes you wonder if they're going to do that in the draft, if they're going to go for a running back. A linebacker. You have Jihad Campbell out of Alabama, who's really good. And then there's another guy too. I'm blanking on his name right now. It's really bothering me. Jalen Walker out of Georgia. And he's really good, but he also might be the next coming of like a Micah Parsons, where yes, he can line up on the edge and he can rush the quarterback really, really well. And he's really good at linebacker as well. He's still got a lot of things to learn, but he's small. He's only 6 foot. He's kind of on the shorter side. So is that really a guy that you say, okay, we're going to draft this guy and he's going to be he's 6'1" actually. He's going to be the replacement for Dre Greenlaw. And he might be, and he's really, really good. I'm going to be doing a video about him pretty soon as well. But it makes me wonder are they going to go first round linebacker, or are they going to go, hey, let's wait for a guy like Jeffrey Bossa in like the 4th or 5th round, and let's grab him as our next linebacker alongside Fred Warner and D. Winters, really.
I've done some mock drafts. I am not familiar with many of the players just because I don't watch a lot of college football. In one of them, I did have him within my first 3 picks, which would have been, first, second, third round.
Yeah.
I did have a linebacker in there just because at the board and the way it rolled out, best player available, linebacker was there, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. I think D. Winters, from what they making it sound like, D. Winters has the inside track to be a linebacker number 2 or the back, the counterpart, the Robin to the Batman of Dre Greenlaw, of Fred Warner. And then all the guys you mentioned, Tatum Bethune. We have Tatum Bethune, D. Winters, and then of course Curtis Robinson. He's also going to be back. He was injured last year. I do think they draft a linebacker at some point. I think within the first 4 rounds. I know we have multiple 4th round picks, so I could see something like that. But Andre, we could be totally wrong. They could go. Some mocks have the Niners going corner at 11. Some
I don't
mocks
see
have
it.
The Niners. I just they are so depleted along the defensive line, especially edge. Like there's nothing there on this team that screams a Bosa counterpart, to make him better. So
you don't think Sam O is going to be the next coming of like Myles Garrett? No, he's not. He's a good player.
He's a nice rotational piece to have, but that's exactly what he is. He's a rotational piece. Same thing with Evan Anderson. Everybody's screaming Evan Anderson's name to the heavens about how good he is and that the Niners got to steal and this and that. Again, rotational piece.
Rotational piece.
If you
Absolutely.
have
Rotational piece.
if you have him and Sam O as your starting defensive tackle and defensive end come week 1, we got some serious problems. And I know we're going to talk about it in a second, but the way that the Niners offseason has fallen into place with some of the decisions that made, they don't have any other options. So,
yeah. Well, I think that when you look at receiver for the Niners, I don't think that they'll draft a receiver in the first round. I don't think they'll draft in the second round. I think it's going to be more of a fourth round. Unless you're at number 11 and a receiver like Tatoria McMillan becomes available, you can, I think, you know, him or even like a running back like Ashton Genty. If one of those two fall to 11, I think the Niners look at that and say, okay, let's trade our pick and trade back and get more picks to, and let's trade this guy off to get more assets. I think that's what they do. Because to me, it's like, look, you're in such need of help on the defensive line. And you need help badly on offensive line and a linebacker. I can't see them taking a corner, a safety, or a receiver or a running back with number 11 pick, even if Ashton Genty is there. Now, you could argue, dude, this guy, having him and McCaffrey, that could be solid. But I don't know, because the way that they use running backs in this team, it's McCaffrey, unless he's hurt. So then you got to wonder, okay, so do we even try to go for those guys? Like I said, if one of those top receiver, running back, even cornerback, they become available, maybe you look to trade them. You know, obviously we know Travis Hunter will not be there, but Will Johnson out of Michigan, he might be there.
49ers, if I have a player at 11 to draft, like Genty, running back, like you said,
Taturo McMillan. Okay, whatever.
The Niners need to trade back if a player falls to them that they don't consider, especially running back. You're not drafting running back at 11.
No,
the 49ers have shown you that they value running back, but they really don't value running back, because most of the players that have become incredibly good through this system, Breida, Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr., all those guys were not first-round picks. In
Jordan Mason.
Yeah, Jordan Mason. There's no way. That would be so against the norm for the 49ers to draft a running back who's not even going to start.
Exactly.
And like you said, Christian McCaffrey, my fear going into next season, Christian McCaffrey, I know I'm jumping off topic. I don't think Kyle, and I don't think our running backs coach, his name is escaping me, old man.
What's his name? Yeah, I know what you mean.
That guy. They don't believe in running backs rotation. They're of the mindset, the old school mindset of, if you have a starter who's really good, you run him into the ground. So why would you draft a running back? I'm not yelling at you. I'm just saying, why would you draft a running back?
I'm like, I don't know. But no, I completely agree. Yeah. They've had a lot of success with running backs that were not even drafted. And with the Kyle Shanahan offense, he can get running backs and turn them into superstars. I mean, look at Jordan Mason. The guy just got a big contract, and they were able to get something out of nothing for that guy. So another thing I want to talk about was John Lynch. Now, recently he was at the Stanford Pro Day. They're all visiting these teams' pro days because they're the guys who didn't show up to the combine.
Due diligence.
And then when he was there, they asked him, they said, what's your plan? What's going on with free agency? It's kind of weird. And he responded with, we got this thing called the draft. We got a lot of picks. And I think the thing the fans should know is that we have a plan. And we're going to execute that plan. And we're excited about that opportunity. Last year we had such a good roster. Okay. I think we doubled down and said, let's go for this thing. We kind of pushed all the chips, knowing that at some point you're going to have to reset. And this was the year. So guys like Leonard, Malik, believe me, their impact was felt. They were great. It was not nothing they did wrong. We just felt like it was time to do it. And we're excited about what we can add and replenish. So again, he's telling the fans, dude, you guys, shut the fuck up and calm down. We have a lot of picks in this draft. It's a deep draft. That's what our focus is on the draft. What did you think about John Lynch's comments?
Man, you better get it right.
That's the only thing. He's got to get it right.
Yourself into such a corner. Nobody's saying that you just go spend money to spend money in free agency. Nobody's saying that. But when you have massive holes at interior defensive line, edge rusher, and I would say right tackle and center, those are the 4 positions that you really mean. Linebacker, you could talk about it, but we do have kind of a player in place, and we do have some bodies there that could compete for that other job next to Fred Warner. But when it comes to holes on the roster, you better get it right. They have to nail this draft. They have to hit it, and they got to get 6 starters out of this draft. The way they have put themselves in such a position to where the draft is like the end all be all. They can't have one of these drafts, like they've had in the past where the only good player to come out of it is Fred Warner or George Kittle in the 5th round. Yeah. And then you just have all sorts of misses with Fred, Solomon Thomas and Reuben Foster and all those
Drake
guys.
Jackson, all these guys, they never became anything.
If they hit on the draft and they're ridiculously successful, then we're going to all go back to this time during the season. We'll bring up this conversation, this live stream, and be like, "Wow, Aaron, you were kind of panicking there, whatever." But I want them to be right. They didn't address anything of need in free agency. Essentially, what they did is they strengthened their special teams.
Yeah,
and
that's where they drafted.
And they added a bunch of camp bodies.
That's what they signed. Yeah, it was a bunch of special teamers.
Yeah, that which is great because they had one of the worst, not the worst, special teams, and they've had it for a while. So I'm cool with that. I am cool with that. They got a blocking tight end who can help them in the pass game. I'm cool with that. Although I think they overpaid ridiculously.
Well, actually, they broke down his contract. He's not making as much as it was first reported. He's only making about $5 million a year. So the contract really wasn't as big as it first sounded. We got this comment here from Strawberry Reacts. What's up, buddy? The only problem I have with Lynch's comments is that there's no audio. Some people suck at translating what is actually being said or twist words for a narrative. I need to hear. Yeah,
I wonder.
It would have been nice if the guy had a recorder, like, "Hey, what's up?" But it's what we got. We got what we got. And last thing, before we do our mock draft, I just want to bring this up. There's been some talk about Brock Purdy's contract. The 49ers and Brock Purdy are in active negotiations on a long-term deal with the intent of finalizing the contract before the 2025 season kicks off. A lot of this is kind of like, no shit. The deal is expected to land in the $50 to $55 million range. I think that's where he's going to end up. 50 to 55 million. I don't see him getting any more than that. I don't see the Niners wanting to go any higher than that, because if they do, they'll say, "Okay, we'll just franchise you then, and we'll actually pay you less." You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I think that oh yeah, exactly. This was the update, non-update. Yeah, I know.
It's exactly what I was thinking. Like,
it's everything we already know.
Every single report since January has been the same thing. And I don't want to attack, because I have friends who do, their 49er pages are pretty successful. One being RSF 49ers Raj.
Yeah.
Big time. But my reaction wasn't to the news. He's only posting what's out there. My reaction is to it supposedly being breaking news when it's been the same thing we've heard since January when the season ended. They're working on something. They want to get it done possibly before the start of the season. And I saw a comment yesterday saying, "So you mean August, right?" And I had said the same thing previously, like, just get it done. There was a live stream I think we were all talking about. It might have been 49ers Access with us, Sterling Bennett, who said that, like, all these other teams get these contract negotiations done with quarterbacks. They don't even talk about it. It just happens. And then with the 49ers, it's like there's this big production to do about their contracts, and they always get done super late. Like, I don't understand what the issue is.
Yeah.
Don't release any more news. don't release any more updates until we have breaking news. Brock Purdy is going to sign. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to hear it anymore because there's nothing new.
Nothing new. It's stuff we already knew. The other thing too was that, okay, there's this rumor out there. Not even a rumor. This fucking guy, I forgot his name. I don't care to remember it at all. He's been running with this trade that the Niners should trade Brock Purdy to the Giants for their first round draft pick. And not only that, but to go out and sign Aaron Rodgers. This has got to be the stupidest, fakest trade. I mean, you want to talk about charlatan? This is, I mean, look, to even think, okay, yeah, we're going to bring in Aaron Rodgers, the guy that got Robert's Hall fired, the guy that we waited for to sign as our defensive coordinator. And now we're going to trade away Brock Purdy to bring this guy in and then draft a quarterback with the third pick in the draft? What, Shadur Sanders? I don't see that happening.
Well, why not even be a first round pick? He's fallen out of a lot of people's mocks.
Yeah.
Shredder Sanders, really? That's your plan? Have him as the heir apparent to that's malpractice. If that's your plan as a front office.
Oh, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And this guy is just trying to get clicks and views and whatever.
And it works. We're talking
Aaron
about
Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers. If this was like 7 years ago, I'd be like, yo, that's great. But no, this is not going to happen. It's the dumbest thing I've heard lately, and it needs to stop because it's just idiotic.
Yeah.
Idiotic to the nth degree. Okay, so with that being said, we're up against the top of the hour, so we're going to go right into our mock draft 2.0. And it starts... Are you ready? It starts right now. Here we go. Okay, so now we're doing mock draft. We're going to do... we got like 20 minutes. We're going to do 4 rounds. And we're going to do on fast mode. We're not going to do any trades. We may take trades, but we're not going to offer any trades. That's just going to take too long. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready for this?
Yep. Okay,
here we go. We're starting the draft. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Detroit's offering the 28th pick, the 60th pick, and the 102nd pick, and then some future picks that we won't be around for. And Strawberry Yaks, yes, we're actually planning on doing a stream for day 1 of the draft. I would do all 3 days, but unfortunately, I have a job, and so I can't. I'm a little limited. Okay, so there's that trade. We'll go ahead and we'll hide that for now. Let's see who's available. So in the draft so far, number 1 pick was Cam Ward. Will Campbell from LSU was number 2. Travis Hunter, number 3. Abdul Carter, Will Johnson, Ashton Genty, Mason Graham of the Jets. I don't want to screw this up. How do I say it again? Tateroa McMillan. He went to the Panthers. Sucks for you. Shadur Sanders went to the Saints. And Armand Membu went to the Bears. You know how many times the Bears have robbed me of a draft pick when I do these mock drafts? I'm like, oh! Okay, so this is who we have left. Looking at all players, we have Shamir Stewart, we have Tyler Warren, Kelvin Banks is a good offensive tackle out of Texas, Jalen Walker, a linebacker that can line up as an edge rusher, Malachi Starks, Mikael Williams, another good edge rusher out of Georgia. James Pierce Jr., Derek Harmon is there. And we have the trade as well, but I think if we go back to 28, we're going to lose too much ground.
Absolutely.
I really do. And plus, whenever Armand Membu becomes available at number 11, you get like the cream of the crop trades too. You can see on here, we only have the one trade offer, which is 28, 60. I mean, you're getting 2 top 100 picks and a pick in 102. So it's almost like getting 3.
Niners have too many needs to fall back to 28.
No, that's the thing. I can counter that. I said we weren't going to do this
in the top 60. I don't think so.
Their first pick is 28. So no, they don't even have so it's not really worth anything. So let's just get out of this. Okay, so who are we taking with our first pick? I'm all in on Shamir Stewart. I think this guy's a beast, and I love his physical ability, his athletic ability. I also like Jalen Walker as well. I mean, we need a linebacker to replace Drake Greenlaw. He can also line up as an edge rusher as well. I really believe this guy is more of an edge rusher, if you ask me. But what do I know?
Now, when you talk about Jalen Walker, is he more of a 3-4 fit than a 4-3 fit? Because the
No,
Niners run a 4-3.
he would work in the 4-3, but like I said, he reminds me of like a Micah Parsons, where he's not really big enough to be a linebacker, but he's good though. He's a good player. Let's just go with Shamir Stewart. We need edge. We need it, so we're taking it. Okay, here we go. Everyone's leaving. Everyone's gone. This is the word. Oh, please. Oh, there it is. Okay, not that, and we're not doing that either. Okay, Walter Nolan is available right there at number 31. I think, and this is happening a lot in a lot of drafts where Walter Nolan slips to number 43. And for me, look, we know that we want a defensive lineman, an edge rusher, an offensive lineman. So for me, I would get Walter Nolan.
Yeah, that is an absolute no-brainer.
I mean, Josh Carnley is there, and he's really good. Let's see who else is there, just in case we get stupid. Thomas is really good, and again, a corner. I'm going for it. Walter Nolan, it is. So now we've rebuilt our defensive line. Now we have Bosa, we have Walter Nolan, somebody, and then we have Shamir Stewart. So they really want somebody here because they're offering 102, 130 for 75 and 147. I don't think so. 94 and 104. We're actually picking up a pick. That's not too bad. Let's see who's there. Okay, so Tate Rutledge is a good offensive lineman. He's a guard out of Georgia. Darius Alexander is another good defensive tackle, which I really, really love. Alfred Collins is still there. Kyle Kennard is still there. Chris Paul Jr., which is somebody we can watch later on. Jared Ivey is still there. Now, these guys might be gone next time because our next pick is 75. But already, to me, this is gold. If you got
the way this is falling right now, where Tate Rutledge, offensive guard, I mean, it's almost as like perfection.
It almost is. And so the question is, do we go Tate? Or do we go Darius Alexander, who I love?
Double down on defensive tackle.
And at that point, you're like, dude, our defensive line has been reset. Now we have
I feel because
Bosa, Alexander, Nolan.
The Niners will not start a rookie center.
Well, he's a guard.
So essentially, he would be competing with Ben Barch and Spencer Burford, right?
Yeah.
If I'm the 49ers, I go Darius Alexander at that pick.
I'm leaning towards that. Jaden Higgins. But again, I feel like we need more help in the trenches.
I think, well, I'll put it this way. If Ayuk is staying and things continue to be the way that they are depth chart wise, Jaden Higgins is not a necessity at that pick.
I mean, Emory Jones is another offensive tackle at LSU. I mean, look at this. He's 6'5", 315. That's massive. That's a huge guy.
Man,
he's a 3-year starter in LSU's pass-heavy offense. He brings elite size, strength, and power. I mean, everything you're reading here is going to make every player sound like they're fucking Superman. So, do we go offensive line, or do we just focus on... Because here's my thing. Before we make this pick real quick, is that we know he got Trent Williams. We know that at left guard, it's going to be either... it's probably going to be Ben Barch. Center is going to be between Hennessy and what's his face?
Jake
Brendel. Right guard, Dominic Pooney. That's fine. And then you got Colton McKivitz, who is he the best? No, but
they're not starting a right rookie tackle. Not happening.
So I think we're going to go Darius Alexander, and now our defensive line has been completely rebuilt.
Yep.
There we go.
And we have two possible starting defensive tackles.
I think we have starting. Okay, so 100. That's actually not bad.
No.
That's 50 picks back. Fuck you, Dallas. Dicks. Okay, let's see. We got 3 more picks left, and we got a few minutes. We got like 10 minutes left. Okay, so now what do we got left here? You got Kyle Kennard, another edge rusher. You could go depth, but really we need receivers. No. Let me see. Who's Will Howard? Not Will Howard. I don't want that guy. Torrey Horton is there. He's a receiver out of Colorado. You can get Cornelius out of Oregon, an offensive tackle. Let's see. If we go to offensive center, Jake Majors is still there, but Jake Majors I might be able to take later. Let's see. Who do we have for linebacker? Samuel Modden's still there. Danny Stuntsman. Jeffrey Bossa is right there. I feel like we could wait one more pick and then get Jeffrey Bossa. Let's see. Cody Simon, I'm taking him before. Let's go back to all. So what do you think we need at this point? We already have edge rusher, defensive tackle. I mean, that's pretty.
I think if you're the 49ers, considering your only other edge is Bosa, you really don't have any other proven edge. I think the Niners either, man.
Or do you go corner? I mean, you still have Zay Alexander, Dorian Strong, you have Kobe Bryant.
What is the actual all of them? Like the all under all?
Kyle Kennard, the edge rusher out of South Carolina.
You can really use a starting safety. Is Kevin Winston Jr. a better box safety or is he a free safety?
Winston has showcased his elite playmaking ability, excelling in pursuit, tracking, and tackling. His instincts in coverage and tackle security highlight his potential as a refined prospect with the tools to thrive. Okay, that's great. So he's 6'1", 215. I mean, he could be somebody. There is Malachi Moore is still out here. Savion Williams out there. And we could go, for me, I think corner or receiver. Because now you've already redone your defensive line. And I feel like
you wouldn't
they're not
dip on edge.
Well, here's the thing is that I don't feel like the Niners are really going to go after an offensive lineman until later in the draft. Or if Armand Membu or Will Johnson falls to 11, then they'll say, okay, well, we don't have a choice. We got to take these guys because they're too good. But I want to go corner or receiver. Where do you want to go?
So we're in the fourth round, third round?
We're in round 3.
Wow. Man.
Now looking at names, just where do you want to go?
I think the Niners would go corner at this point.
So let's look at corner because I'm kind of feeling that too. That way they can kind of shore that up. We got Dorian Strong, Zay Alexander, Kobe Bryant, which I'm a big fan of. Jacob Parrish is really good too. Let's see. What was this? Dorian Strong, 6'1".
Another small guy. Slow too. Oh no, okay, that wasn't S40.
No, yeah, this guy ran in 3 seconds. No, I like Zay Alexander. He's a long, wiry cornerback with athleticism and fluidity to develop into a day 2 pick. I really like Zay. Is it Zay or Zay Alexander? Let's go with Dorian Strong. He's already ranked higher. Let's go with him. Are you good with that?
I'm good with that.
All right. Now we got a corner. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Oh, Dante Thornton just went. That was my sleeper receiver pick. Okay, so Savion Jones. Okay, so here we go. We also got, what's his name? Is it Femi? No, he's gone. Okay, so we go back to all. Joshua Farmer's still there. Let's see. More safety. We can go receiver. Should we go receiver? Should we get the Debo 2.0 and Savion Williams?
Savion Williams sounds like a good pick.
Let's do it. Savion Williams it is. Now, I think we got one more pick left before we round out the draft. Maybe. I gotta look at that. But this is the end of it anyway, so there's no point in making another pick because we're not going to be able to be there anyway. So who's left? I like Jackson Slater. He's a guard out of Sacramento State. He's really good. Unfortunately, he's from Sac State, so he went against not as good of a challenge.
I feel as a value pick in the 4th round, having an offensive guard fall to you. But see, I mean, there's running back too, Ollie Gordon.
Oh, you know what? Let's look at that. Who's still there? Oh, you know what? Jordan James. You know what we didn't do? We didn't do linebacker. Let's see. I'm going to take Jeffrey Bossa.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
A lot of people have mocked him to the 49ers. I've seen a lot of mocks.
We'll take him. And there we go. There is our quick 4-round draft. We got Shamir Stewart, Walter Nolan. Dude, if this was our draft, I'd be like, dude, we're back, dude. We're fucking back, baby.
They've addressed interior. They've addressed edge, cornerback. They got another wide receiver who can learn under the guys that are already there. And then, they'll have a nice young piece at linebacker to compete with all these other young guys that we have, dude. Yeah, if that was the 49ers, they would essentially rebuilt their defense.
Oh, absolutely. And I think a lot of help needs to go to the defense.
I wouldn't mind if they double dipped at edge back in the fifth. If they went edge in the fifth, I wouldn't mind.
I mean, we took a corner, but I could see them going another edge rusher because they're so big on that defensive line that, and when I mean big, I mean like they're very, they want that line to be imposing, and it's a big deal for them.
They got to get back. Oh, listen, when they were winning in 2019, when they went to the Super Bowl the first time, the Niners defensive line was essentially one of their strongest units. And even in the years where we got a lot of depth pieces, and we brought in different bodies to compete. I'm trying to think of the year and the names, but essentially what I'm saying is the more you invest in your defensive line, the better. The Niners have little by little over the last couple of years, the defensive line has gotten a lot worse over time. So John Lynch, listen, if you hit in the draft, I will love you and understand completely what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
You have to.
If you hit like this, I'd be like, fuck yeah, dude. Now, everyone keeps telling me Walter Nolan will not be there in the second round, but I'm telling you, this happens a lot. When I do mock drafts, I've gotten Walter Nolan in the second round, or with pick number 43, like I would say 8 times out of 10. Now, is this entirely accurate? Well, no, it's a mock draft, but if you look at what everyone else needs, I mean, look at James Pierce Jr., Matthew Golden, Mikael Williams, Derek Harmon. All these guys are really good. Jade Barron. These are the guys who went before him. Although I could look, the Chiefs probably would get a guard because they lost Joe Thuney. So that could be something that they go for. Ravens, this pick right here. The Rams taking Jihad Campbell. I can absolutely see that happening. They need help at linebacker. Jalen Walker went to the freaking Packers. So yeah, I mean, this is there's a lot of trades that went down too. So I could see that happening. And you go to round 2, Travion Henderson. I don't know if the Raiders would take Xavier Watts over some of these guys.
Did
Mike
the
Green
Dolphins draft Tyler Warren on their first pick. It's my brother's team.
Let me see,
dude. If the Niners,
Tyler Warren,
Lord, that would, dude. Wow, that would hit. I could change a lot of things.
And Strawberry reacts. I could easily see them taking Walter Nolan or Mike Green because they're trying to move Bryce Huff. They're like, hey, we got Green, Huff, we got to move you. And they're trying to trade Bryce Huff, but if you draft Mike Green, they may end up cutting him. Who knows? In the NFL these days, you never know. Because they're like, hey, we just got Mike Green, so we don't need to keep you around anymore. Fuck deuces, dude. Now look, some of these players, like I said, it's a mock draft. It's not real.
It's a mock. We still have like 4 weeks before the draft. So
Luther Burden III, another good receiver. He went to the Titans. Talik Williams, Trey Harris, Travion Henderson. There was a draft where I took Travion Henderson.
The wide receiver that we drafted to take place of Debo. He's also been mocked to the 49ers quite a bit.
Yeah, Savion Williams. And I actually thought we got him at a good spot too. Jalen Noel's another good one. But look, the Seahawks need a receiver. They just got rid of DK Metcalf, so I could easily see them going with Jalen Noel. But overall, dude, I think we did a good job.
I think we did.
What's this?
They need to hire us in the draft room.
Yeah, right. I'd be a nervous wreck. I'd be like, I don't know. Can I live stream this?
Yeah, that's a really good Kermit the Frog, man. That's good.
But look at this. Shamir Stewart, Walter Nolan, Darius Alexander, Dorian Strong, Savion Williams, Jeffrey Bossa, and that was just the first 4 rounds. Imagine if we did 7 rounds. My God, we'll still be doing it now.
Have linked Bossa, not to be confused with Bosa.
Bossa and Bosa.
Man, Shamir Stewart, defensive tackle, Walter Nolan, Darius Alexander. Man, that looks really good.
It does. It really does. So I think when John Lynch does these mock drafts, I think he's like, see, look, this is what we need. Well, we're gonna be fine. So who knows, dude? Who knows? Aaron,
looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Aaron, thank you so much for coming on here and talking some 49ers football. Guys, stay tuned because later this year, on draft day, on day one, Aaron and I will be doing a stream. We're going to be watching the draft live, not entirely because YouTube will take us down, but we're going to be doing, player breakdowns, have videos we're going to be playing, and leading us up to day one of the NFL draft. Who will the Niners take with pick 11? We're going to find out come, I think it's April 23rd.
I think it's 24th.
Whatever. Is the NFL draft.
I can't wait.
I can't wait. It's going to be great, you guys. Absolutely great. And so real quick, Aaron, where can they find you and all your content?
49ers First Takes YouTube. It's the same name as you see on the screen. 49ers First Takes on X, Instagram, and on TikTok. I am all those places. Essentially a 49er news channel who live streams. I will probably be back live streaming on TikTok if it's still around for the NFL season. I like to go live and tell people that I am not Max Crosby. A lot of people thought I was him last year, and I'm like the Timo version of him. You know, I don't have anyone.
Hey, we'll take it. We'll take it.
So yeah, all of my platforms except for Facebook. Facebook is just my normal self. But yeah, if you want to check all those out, they should be in the link on my YouTube channel. And yeah, I can't wait to see you, man, on first day of the draft. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be fun, man. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more of this content, then check out some of these recommended videos right here on your screen. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by going to my website, which is nicotina.net, and there are memberships available under Dre Area Sports.